First podcast, Nico.
First podcast, Max. Woo!
You ready?
Yeah, of course. Let's see how good it's going to be at the end, right? But definitely ready. Yeah, 100%.
Cool. So over the past few weeks, you tried to pass an FTMO challenge. I received a ton of questions about it. How did Nico do it? What did he build? Why didn't he share it yet? All those questions came up in the community. So right here, this is the easiest format to talk about it. So what was your thought process, your approach to pass an FTMO, and tell a little bit about how you got started with it?
Yeah, that's a good one. I think I would even take a step back maybe. And I was thinking like, what are we doing here on this channel pretty much? So you do like a lot of evergreen videos about like general trading advice, manual trading, building things as well, like automating strategies. These are like your topics, and then there are like the topics I'm covering, such as reviews about trading software, trading bots, also sometimes building stuff. And when I was like reviewing these kind of trading bots, for example, on the MQL5 marketplace, I recognized more and more are becoming like prop firm ready. I was like, that's interesting. Everyone is getting this tag. Everyone is trying to fit into this kind of space of like, prop trading challenges and being able to crack those. That was where pretty much my thinking process started. And by the way, most of those systems are based on Martingale, which
On the MQL platform, right?
Exactly, on the MQL5 platform, which on this platform we don't advise to use, or at least we don't promote it that much. But actually, having a thought about it, and I don't see this as a single system, but you take this trading system as a whole and you try it different kind of times, it makes Martingale is making trading predictable, right? Because either you make it or you break it in the end. Either you will reach the profit target of, for example, the FTMO trading challenge, or you will fail. And in the end, I was looking for statistics, numbers, which are giving me kind of a feeling if how likely it will be to fail or to win. And this was pretty much the starting point for like digging a little bit deeper.
Just like I know regarding with all the things we saw of the past years regarding martingales, they always blow up, right? So why did you try to use that approach instead of just building a regular strategy or using one of our other strategies? Like,
yeah,
why
indeed,
did you do it this way?
It's inevitable that a Martingale system will blow up one day. Simply the expected value.
Not everyone believes it, but it truly happens, right?
Yeah, exactly, and it will blow up one day. The expected like value is negative long term because you will definitely always lose money. But I think the game is a little different indeed. Why was I not like taking a trading strategy, so many viable systems we have at our hands? Simply to fit also the market a little bit, right? Because we did not do it for ourselves. We did it for the crowd out there, which we realized a little bit impatient and simply needing a system where they know what to expect. And this is definitely where Martingale comes into place. And it's also a different kind of game. It's not, I wouldn't describe it as like trading, viable investing mid to long term. It's really just playing this kind of game, which you enter when you accept such a prop trading challenge, such as from FTMO. It's more kind of a challenge in that sense.
Yeah. So regarding the challenge, then it's a short-term thing you do then with just to pass it, or what was your idea with it? So you use a martingale, you know it is risky, but still you need to have high rewards to pass the challenge. So your thought process was, okay, let's do this short-term approach, the quick and dirty way in doing it, pass it, and then what was then your idea to do? Because now you passed it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like when I passed it, pretty much, then I knew, cool, it's actually working in practice, not only on demo trading. And then there's a second phase for FTMO. So for the first phase, maybe how like the thought process went, I was kind of, well, reverse engineering is a big word, but I was looking pretty much on the trading conditions, on the targets I have to make. Luckily, FTMO, you have unlimited trading days, so that made it a bit easier. but I still wanted to reach the target, the goal quickly. So either making or breaking it in X amount of time. So that is why I made sure, cool, every day there's at least one trade, but also not more than one trade because there's a maximum equity drawdown per day. So we still want to stay in this kind of like framework which is given. And having a healthy, profit target to reach, for example, the 10%. And then I simply knew, cool, I need these kind of statistics, like bigger, equal than 50% of winning ratio, so on so many trades for this kind of time period, and then it might work. So this worked out for phase number 1. Phase number 2, same system, and in practice, it took only, I think, 4 weeks, 3 weeks or so, I'm not sure anymore, but it was way, way quicker because, market was just super volatile, and the system is based on US dollar, Japanese yen, and yeah, as we know right now,
Yeah, they need that, right?
Exactly. The more volatile, the better the system is working because it's based on breakout. Plus adding Martingale on top.
Indeed. Can you explain a little bit more about that strategy then? Because you talked about your strike rate needs to be above like 50%. You want a lot of trades because you don't want to wait for weeks for a lot of setups. Can you talk a little bit more about why you did decide to take then this approach? Why in the 1 hour or 4 hour daily time frame, what you did?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. I mean, I tried every single time frame. I tested it a lot. So a lot of research went into that phase. So I tested it on the daily time frame, 12 hour, 8 hour, and so on, down to the minutes, which rarely works, but I still wanted to give it a try. And then turns out the best balance was on the 1 hour chart regarding amount of trades and returns. So this was pretty much part of my phase 1 research, striking the right balance of returns, drawdown, and amount of trades. These were pretty much the 3 main key statistics numbers I was looking at.
That's quite interesting, right? Because normally you just take the time frame with the best return and then you just go for that, or that's what most people do. But also you have to take into account, okay, max drawdown and also the amount of trades because you don't want to wait months to pass a challenge. That's like the triangle you try to solve, right?
Exactly. It was also a bit counterintuitive. It was a different kind of process, which I usually follow, because I must say the system is becoming way better, for example, on the 4-hour time frame or 12-hour time frame,
really?
Even on the daily time frame. The statistics, like, for example, the return to drawdown ratio is going through the roof. But then I realized, wait, we're not trying to create a viable long-term strategy, because in the end, I will just slap Martingale on top of it.
And that's always
All right, and I need the amount of trades, and when I'm on the daily time frame, we will be still in phase 1 right now if I would have tried on the daily. So I needed the amount of trades, and being on the 1 hour time frame ensured me having at least one trade per day.
And did you change anything regarding the strategy during your process, or in the first phase, in the second phase, or did you just accept your data, like you tested everything you told us? What did you do?
Yeah, that's a good one. Like when I was doing the challenge, actually, I was not changing anything anymore. I was just closely monitoring it to see, is it actually behaving as I'm expecting it to behave. During the testing phase, I was obviously trying it on like historical price data, simply see how it is doing. And then, of course, switching different kind of settings, trying different kind of stop loss sizes, different kind of targets. I even added some management, different kind of currency pairs. I mean, it went down the whole route, and simply seeing what is fitting pretty much my criteria, which I already like mentioned in the beginning. But as soon as I figured out, cool, for example, 1 hour that's the way to go. I stick with it, and that went and I went for it then for the actual challenge in the end.
Nice. So you already, instead of just building something and figuring out what are the best settings and walking towards that target and that goal, you just did it the other way around, more or less. You just told yourself, this is what I need, because the challenges are pretty strict, right? And let's see how I can achieve that goal.
Super strange. Exactly. I mean, I think you should not do this, right? Normally, if you create a strategy for your portfolio. But I was like looking at it like on a game in a casino, right? I think this approach is closer to something what you see in a casino than what you see on a trading floor, because we play this game of a prop trading challenge. And that is why I started from the statistics, which you normally do not have, right? Like this kind of framework. But this is given to us by these prop trading challenges. So indeed, it's a strange one. Yeah.
And they are changing it so many times, right? All the rules and all this stuff is changing so much that criteria you have right now to pass these FTMO challenges and the ones you will pass in the future might look a little bit different than how you did it right now, right? But that's nice from automation that you can just adjust it, just retest and see, okay, the new environment, can we still pass it or not? That makes it cool.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like when you have like a manual strategy and then something is changing and you were sure it's working now for the challenge and now you have to backtest it again manually. That's a pain.
Oh man, back in the days, I remember that, like the Excel sheets.
Yep.
Just backtest everything, and then you change one small filter, and your whole strategy is different. So you have to retest everything.
Yeah, but I like those sessions though, especially during COVID. You know, like 3, 4, 5 people in the call, just going through those Excel sheets was fun.
Yeah, good times. That's when you learn to automate as well, right? Back in 2020, I think.
Pretty much, yes, indeed. I mean, COVID, it's it took and it gave, and in that case, I mean, all of us, I guess, we had a lot of time, and then I had time to dive into the process of automating things and learning to no code and thinking like an algorithmic trader in the end. Yeah, definitely. And it's also so repetitive. I think that was the starting point for you as well, I assume, right? Like when you were figuring out, oh, that stuff you're doing it's so often over and over again, and then we change, for example, stop loss. It would be convenient to have like it automated, right?
Yeah, like as a manual trader, I had a crazy approach to just collect a lot of raw data and then just add a lot of filters on top of that. So just had an Excel sheet, worked on what I did discover with very simple setups, and then I took that raw data set to then add the filter, so I didn't have to backtest everything again and again if I want to test a different filter. But definitely with automation, it is just ridiculous how fast it goes. It's way better in the end. But let's go back to FTMO. What are your next steps now? Do you want to pass new funding challenges and at the same time just milk the one you have now? Or what is your idea now? What's next?
Yeah, I think next is just really going into the actual trading, right? Since now there's like the 100K account laying around, applying a system to it, not the Martingale one, obviously, a
Why not?
more viable system. Well, that's like circling back to the points I made before, right? I think I could. It would be interesting. I mean, I created 15% of like returns within, let's say, what was it, 6 weeks, 7 weeks or so.
Yeah,
that would be quite substantial on the 100K account. But I would like to keep this account a bit longer because there's always more or less the 50-50 chance of like getting busted as well, since you're always doubling down.
Yeah, it's like, do you go for the high payout now with high risk, or do you go for the consistent payouts for over the coming months, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think the latter one is more interesting also for the community to see how it develops, seeing someone who tries to keep such an account for a longer time period, to see if FTMO is reliably paying out these payouts, for example. I think that's a bit more interesting than continuing the gambling approach and actually just like trying the Wall Street bets kind of approach and going bunkers. I think it's more interesting to see someone who actually tries to grow such an account of FTMO.
Yeah, and the new payouts you can use for obviously to pass new ones, right? You can just buy multiple 100K accounts and then see, okay, how many can I pass more?
Exactly. And I mean, there's also a super interesting program or programs with FTMO where you can also enter different kind of lines, which I don't know the names, but they're like elite traders or supreme program whatsoever. In the end, you just get more perks, you get more capital allocated, resources allocated. You might even get a contract as a trader at a quant company, since FTMO was actually, no, they were not bought. They actually bought a trading floor somewhere.
Oh, really?
And if they see, cool, like this guy or girl is actually a pretty good trader.
They want the talent.
Exactly. Let not this person trade our demo account. Let's actually get this person in our team and actually trade real money. I mean, that's a far-fetched goal. It's an interesting goal, right? So, but this is just another incentive to not go bonkers and try it in a real sense.
True. Yeah, that's a fun approach.
Right.
So right now, have you already traded the funded account you got, or are you still busy with figuring out your next plan? What are you doing now?
Exactly. Applying it this week. Was a bit busy the last week, so I did not apply it just yet. And I think, I mean, there's no need to really stress out. It's not being taken away. So I'll take it step by step, planning to apply it this weekend. And then hopefully having in 2-3 weeks the first payout, plus also the refund. That will be the plan. So yeah, I didn't stress out about the point to like, cool, I got the login credentials. Let's get in the account straight away.
Let's trade.
Exactly.
Fear of missing out, right? I need to trade right now, get the payouts. Otherwise, shit will happen.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of FOMO definitely exists, especially right now with the UJ, right? Being so volatile.
Yeah.
Having some systems such as breakout systems running right now, I think is super interesting. Being in the market, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Also with elections coming up in November, like a lot of stuff will change in the markets, will be crazy volatile.
Definitely.
Did you focus at any news announcements or anything, or just did you let the algorithm run during your phases? Did you look at it at all, or did you care?
Yeah, during backtesting, I was not looking at news events since that is so hard to accommodate for that. That is why, well, bottom line is no, I do not consider news since they are also in my backtest sample, and I will simply assume it's part of the game, and I'm not sure if it's helpful or not. I will assume it's rather good for such a system since it's based on breakout, and the more volatile, the more price movements, the better.
You did.
Yeah, they definitely play a role, and that's why I'm also switching. In FTMO, you have like two options. You have like the swing account and the other account with a little bit more leverage. The one with the more leverage is a bit more strict. So yes, you get more leverage, you can enter a bigger position, but you, for example, always have to close your trades before the weekend, before news events.
And you cannot test that, right? It's like a lot of traders fear about news, but then they backtest and they don't backtest with news because, well, the news data is, of course, in your price data, because if there's good news, something rises or falls, right? So you already backtest with news included. So then in the live markets, taking that approach to focus on news doesn't really make sense because you didn't doing that with your data in your testing period, right?
Exactly.
It's like
exactly.
It's makes sense. And if FTMO allows just trading true news and all of that, then it's fine. Same. Often people ask like, can I close my positions before the weekend on a Friday? I'm like, well, if you tested that and that worked for you, great. Like we have some strategies that buy on Friday and close on Monday, that over the weekend gold strategy, for instance. There's definitely an edge in it, but then it is all data-based, and that's a big issue. It's I remember back in the days you couldn't trade during news, right? With FTMO.
No, not at all. They changed it, I think. I mean, they also have to fit the market, the demand, and there's so many people who are actually actively trading the news or simply did not consider, like me. And then it would be such a high hustle to always check the news calendar and close here and there, because it's not every Friday, right? If it's about news, it can be a Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever.
Yeah. And sometimes just random news, right? That was not in the calendar. Like this morning, I hosted just a community webinar and we talked about ChatGPT, the new version. And I played around it last week, and I always get so excited about how it develops and what you can do now. And I just exported like FX Blue data from Pi from our system, uploaded those orders, those trades that we took live to ChatGPT, and told it, okay, now compare what would happen with my performance if I would trade 2 days before NFP, during NFP, and 2 days after NFP. And ChatGPT just gives you that analysis, right? It's truly insane. So you can, in that way, I figured out, okay, how does news impact my trading, even though it is in your backtest, because you cannot filter it out, or you can more or less with there are some technical ways that you can filter out the news. with spread filters and all of that. But it was just crazy to see that with new technology you can see the impact of news, but if you don't need it, just let it be, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there's so many questions I could ask you now right now, but I think that's a
For next
topic
session.
for another session, exactly, for
Yeah.
another episode. I think that's super cool how like GPT, large language models, whatsoever AI can help elevate trading. And
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, can be great stuff.
So regarding FTMO, you created the system. That system will be available for our community anyways. If you're watching this and think, okay, how does that work? How can I use it? You will get an update on it. Besides that, you're gonna probably turn on a new system. We can do an episode on that when you receive your first payouts. It will be fun to share that with the world and help people out. Anything else you want to say, or should we wrap this up now?
I think we can wrap it up. I think I'm just hyped about this new format. I think it's fun. I'm curious how it will all
Definitely.
pan out. Doing also, yeah, kind of an interview format to each of us, maybe of other people as well. So curious where it will lead
Yes,
us.
so much to talk about as well.
Amen.
Okay, mate. Thank you.
Cheers. Have a good one.